How well do you really know that person you think you know? It goes without saying that the world is a crazy, scary place, and there are so many terrible people out there, wolves dressed as sheep. Your neighbor, family friend, religious leader, or even a blood relative could turn out to be a maniac at the snap of a finger. Welcome to Crime Lab channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at the tragic story of an innocent 8-year-old girl who was found dead in a suitcase. Sandra Cantu was an 8-year-old American girl who was murdered and sexually assaulted by 28-year-old Melissa Huckaby, who lived a couple of doors down from Sandra's family. Apart from being her trusted, friendly neighbor, Huckaby was a Sunday school teacher and a single mother who came from 2 generations of church leaders. Sandra grew up in Tracy, California, and lived in Orchard Estates mobile home park with her mom, grandparents, and 3 older siblings. She was a 2nd grade student at Melville S. Jacobson Elementary School. Sandra was a sweet child, kind, outgoing, always smiling and friendly. As expected, she easily made friends with kids and adults in the neighborhood. She loved to play, and she often did with children in her neighborhood. On Friday, March 27, 2009, after school, Sandra went to play at a friend's house at 4 p.m. and returned home, but she left again to play at another friend's house. At dinner time, she was not back. This made her family distressed because she always knew when to stop playing and return home at 7:50 p.m. Her family contacted the police, and she was declared missing. The police collected footage recorded by a surveillance camera Sandra's grandmother had installed in front of the family home. The footage, which showed Sandra crossing the street in front of her home before moving out of frame, was played on national news stations. A comprehensive search was conducted, and soon everybody was looking for a girl 4 feet tall, wearing a pink skirt and black leggings. The search went on for days without results, and the FBI was called in to assist in the case. There were cadaver dogs, helicopters, and hundreds of volunteers searching for the missing 8-year-old. A $2,000 reward was promised to anyone who had anything that would be helpful to the investigation. After a couple of days, the reward went up to $30,000. Sandra's case was all over the media. As the case progressed, the police had a few suspects. One of them was an older man who lived in the neighborhood. This man had been seen kissing Sandra on one occasion, so he was brought in for questioning. The man admitted to being a pedophile, but he stated that he never physically harmed any of his underage love interests. Once again, the efforts of the police reached a dead end. At a candlelight vigil held for Sandra, a hysterical woman made a scene. This woman, identified as Melissa Huckaby, was a neighbor and Sunday school teacher. Huckaby ran up to the police who were at the vigil, hyperventilating and screaming, and told them that she found a letter which she allegedly found on the ground. The letter read, "Cantu locked in a stolen suitcase. Thrown in water on Bucketty Road and Whitehall Road. Witness." In light of this newly brought evidence, the case was revived. According to police records, Huckaby reported the case of a stolen suitcase on the day of Sandra's disappearance. This made the police suspicious of Huckaby. They were convinced that she knew more than she was telling. They found it unusual that a woman who reported losing a suitcase should be the one woman out of everyone in the neighborhood who should happen to find a note that reports that the stolen suitcase was used to hide the child's body. She was brought in for questioning, and she claimed to have been redecorating the church classes on the 27th of March. A warrant for the search of Huckaby's properties was issued. Her car was seized and searched, and a notebook that matched the one she claimed to have found on the ground was found. Inside the notebook, There was a torn-out page that also complemented the note Huckaby initially handed to the police. The address in the note was searched for days, and it wasn't until 10 days after her disappearance that Sandra's body was found. She had been stuffed in a suitcase and thrown into an irrigation pond a few miles from her house.
Sandra Cantu's body was found inside a black suitcase that was located at the irrigation pond by farm workers this morning off of Machete Road. Now, police then took that luggage from the pond and transported the bag to the county morgue, where this evening police identified the body of Sandra Cantu.
She had a cut to her lip and scratches to her left elbow. After an autopsy was performed on her body, the coroner stated that there were injuries to her genitals, which proved that she had been sexually assaulted with a foreign object. A toxicology report also showed the presence of alprazolam, a medication to treat anxiety. At this point, Huckaby was the prime suspect. The church where she taught Sunday school was thoroughly searched. They found a rolling pin with a broken handle and a bloody smudge. After a test was run, the blood was confirmed to contain Sandra's DNA. They also found a blind at the church that was missing its pull cord. The cord was similar to the string used to tie the suitcase, which held her body.
They found more evidence inside the Clover Road Baptist Church. A cord from the blinds was used to tie the suitcase shut. Also, a blood-stained rolling pin was found inside the church.
Additionally, bottles of alprazolam were found in Huckaby's home and purse. 2 witnesses reported seeing Huckaby and her SUV in the vicinity of the irrigation pond around 6 meters on the date of Sandra's disappearance. However, Huckaby claimed that she had stopped at the pond to urinate. With the heap of evidence piled against her, Huckaby knew she was in trouble, and she attempted suicide by swallowing 3 razors. Unfortunately for her, the police, who were already on their way to arrest her, rushed her to the hospital. She was arrested on April 11, 2009. After her arrest, her phone was searched and a text was discovered. The text was sent to the Cantu family phone asking Sandra and her siblings to come over to her apartment and play with her 5-year-old daughter. While in police custody, Huckaby made a lot of incoherent confessions. On one account, she claimed that she was playing hide-and-seek with the 8-year-old and her 5-year-old daughter when Sandra suggested that she zipped herself in a suitcase to hide from them. Huckaby went on to say that she drove to church, forgetting about Sandra, who was still in the suitcase, and by the time she got back, Sandra had died. Then she panicked and thought of disposing of the body in the pond nearby. The police soon found evidence that the murder of Sandra was premeditated and not an accident as she had claimed. In her browser history, they discovered that she had been searching on how to kill a child. One of the murders she researched was the story of a father who murdered his son and hid the boy in a suitcase. There is no way that was random, but there was another strong evidence. On the day that Sandra went missing, surveillance footage showed Sandra skipping in the direction of Huckaby's house, and 8 minutes later, Huckaby's black SUV drove in the opposite direction. At approximately the same time, she reported that her suitcase had been stolen. 85 minutes later, a surveillance camera located outside the church's parking lot where Huckaby taught Sunday school captured her driving away from the church. 30 minutes after that, she was captured returning to the church. During this 30-minute time frame, she was spotted at the irrigation pond. The prosecution's theory was that Huckaby lured Sandra over to her house. Then she asked Sandra to come to the church to help her decorate. When they got to the church, Huckaby gave Sandra some juice that had the medication in it and waited until Sandra passed out. She then assaulted Sandra with the rolling pin. This theory was supported by the fact that the injuries seen in Sandra's genitals were consistent with the diameter of the ends of the rolling pin.
Prosecutors say injuries to Sandra Cantu were consistent with a sexual assault from the rolling pin.
Then Huckaby strangled her with a white piece of cloth, which was soiled with blood and tied up like a noose. This cloth was found tied around Sandra's head when her body was discovered. Melissa Huckaby was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, drugging, and sexual assault of Sandra Cantu.
Finding out, one, that it's a woman that was responsible for Sandra's kidnapping and murder.
She accepted a plea agreement and pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and kidnapping with enhancement to avoid a possible death sentence. The sexual assault and drugging charges were dropped as part of the agreement. Huckaby said to Sandra's family during her sentencing,
"I should not have taken Sandra from you, and I want you to know that she did not suffer and I did not sexually molest your daughter."
With a history of mental health problems, including borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, the prosecutor speculated that Huckaby killed Sandra for attention, as she did many other weird things. She was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. That's a wrap on today's video. Thank you for watching this video. Hit us up in the comment section and give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos.